So this is the last video of the day, but I wanted to get into more home prepping and some things that you need to be thinking about. You know, all right. So let's just take my car as an example, and this is cybersecurity or building a computer. I mean, what the hell does a car have to do with that? But one of the things, you know, that you never want to do with a car or any sort of technology is get in on the bleeding edge. I used to love being there, and as a young person, you know, working through all of the hurdles that the manufacturers and everything and didn't work out, it was fun. You know, I mean, it was like, okay, you know, sometimes you're even troubleshooting for the companies and they don't pay you anything, or at least back then I didn't get paid. So when I bought the Toyota Prius Prime, it had been out. That was a proven technology. Been out since 2016. That battery technology had been. That's one thing Toyota does, or used to. I'm sure they. Well, I'm hoping they still do. Whole new world. But you know, each year they improve on the technology. So when I bought the 2021, I knew I was getting the best, you know, that they've come up with. Now, are they going to leapfrog that with the new hydrogen cars? Probably within, I think 2023. Or, you know, well, we're going to see. I mean, I think, whew, you know me, man. Stock market crash, housing market crash, dollar crash. You know, I'm I'm trying to prepare for everything. So in that vein, let's get into an actual cybersecurity video. The first thing I wanted to show you. And of course, I'm using the new stand, which is really kind of a selfie type stick to get rid of that old stick. And this is kind of what I use when I'm out hiking and I want to make videos. See, this has got the handle so you can adjust it. So if you're going to make videos, this is nice to have. This is the UBE SIZE TR50. Now, they probably got something better now. But I've really liked this, and for doing when I'm crippled now, you know, it was good to have. So that's has nothing to do with cybersecurity. So let's get into the latest project. So you know, I want to get in, since I can't do a whole lot. I can't go hiking per se. You know, a lot of days I wake up, I don't feel like doing a whole lot, but I can always work on technology. And one of the things that I'm going to need for my channel in the future is some good hardware. Now, right now we're in a transition period. AMD and Intel are coming out with the new, what is it called? The AM4, or AM5, excuse me, memory. It's a leapfrog in computer technology. So basically everything that is out right now is about to become outdated. But it's the perfect time to build a computer system in my mind, because what happens is, you know, every 3 years or so with cars or with computer technology, there's a revolution, okay? And as everybody comes out with the new stuff, there's all kinds of problems and everything. And then after about 2 or 3 years, everything's been just, all the kinks have been worked out. And so what you can buy is the best of the best. And that's why they, boom, leapfrog the technology. And so you say, well, why not just wait for the technology to leapfrog? I mean, in 6 months from now, I could get a lot better system than what I'm planning to build right now. But it depends on where you think the future's going. We got inflation. I think the dollar's going to crash. Russia's threatening global thermonuclear war. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just of the opinion that right now the technology is at its peak. Okay, to build a nice computer system, depending on what it is that you want. Okay, and so, you know, if you're into being a videography, or you're into gaming, or into any of that sort of thing, you know, take advantage, because the prices are going to drop, and they are dropping. And I'm going to be buying components here soon. So I just wanted to talk about some of the research that I've been doing, and see, that's another thing. You know, without my wife here, I can expand into the rest of the house. It used to be I had to keep everything in the office, so I had 3 or 4 computers in the office. You know, now with Wi-Fi, I can have a computer right here next to the 65-inch TCL micro LED TV and use that as a monitor, and basically sit with a remote keyboard across from it on my sofa and work this whole system as a computer system, along with my new UPS or uninterrupted power supply, the APC power supply. So you can see I'm kind of building out the house with smart technology and not having to sit in my office all the time. Now my office, I got the 55-inch TV in there, and I'm going to be building that out as well. But the technology that I've got in there is many years old, and it's not that great for, why am I going to spend $300 or $400 on editing software with a DaVinci? I've already decided I'm going with DaVinci, DaVinci Resolve, the paid version. But there's no reason to buy the software until I have the hardware to run it on. So let's just talk about the research that I've been doing, and I'm just going to give you the end result. Okay, basically, the AMD processors and motherboards, they've evolved quite a bit. Same with the Intel. Intel is better right now, for sure. AMD is getting ready to, that's what happens. Intel leapfrogs AMD, AMD leapfrogs Intel. Same with the graphics cards. There's a whole revolution going on in graphics cards right now. EVGA, I don't know if you're familiar with that company. They just decided they're not going to do the NVIDIA graphic cards, because NVIDIA's, it's kind of like TCL. They're bypassing all of their third-party vendors, and they're going to start coming out with the technology on their own, and so that's going to cut their profit margin. So, EVGA, they got good power supplies, so they're like, screw it, we're not going to do that anymore. But now might be a good time to pick up an EVGA graphics card, and I'm looking into it. So let me just get to the bottom line here on what I'm seeing, because now you got to understand, my purposes probably don't match up with yours. I'm trying to build the ultimate creator system. Now, a creator system is also a good gaming system, so it's not like the two are not, joint together. But, I'm more about, let's say, the M2 hard drives, for example, because I want that speed. I want the, I'm more into putting, rather than 32 gigabytes of RAM on the motherboard, because the motherboards I'm looking at, you can put up to 128 gigabytes of RAM on the motherboard. Now, am I going to go with 128 now? I'll probably just go with 64 gigabytes. But I've got that capability to expand to 128. Because if you do get into some but I like to do, but god dang, I'm only one person. In my brain, it ain't, but we'll see. Maybe I'll get into some stuff like that. So I'm just kind of piecing together, and these are the first couple of things that I've come up with. The first thing I had to decide on was the processor. Now, the Intel processor, like I said, is better, but it runs hotter. Now, one of the things here in Florida is I keep my house hot because of my handicap. And so cooling down the computers, especially in my office where the air conditioning doesn't get to real well, unless I'm going to put an air conditioner in the window in there, which I'm not going to do, I want a processor that runs a bit cooler, and the AMDs run cooler. That's probably not a concern of yours, because I keep it 80, 82 degrees in the house. So that was the first thing. So I decided, okay, AMD, that's the processor that I'm going to go with. And AMD's gone through many renovations in the last 3 or 4 years. The processor that I've settled on is the Ryzen 9 5900 or the 5950. Depends on the difference in the price. The 5950 can sell for up to $250 more than the 5900, but the 5900 for me is more than enough power for me to do my video editing. So that's the first thing. Then the next thing was they came out with the X570 motherboards. Unless you're doing some research, you're not going to understand what that is. But you got Gigabyte, you got Asus, you got MSI. They all came out with the 570. That was the first round of them competing against each other. That's why competition is so beautiful in the marketplace. And then they came out with what's called the X570S, which is silent, which just means that you don't need fans and stuff to cool down the motherboard. And they put in all these heat sinks and everything. And so I knew that I was going to go with an X570S motherboard of some type. And so I was really looking at the Gigabyte, but I've had bad, I mean, I'm not dissing them, but I've had bad luck with Gigabyte in the past. And so I really didn't want to buy one of their motherboards unless I had to. But they've got what's called the Aero G X570S creator motherboard, which is actually, you can put up to 4 M2 slots on it, running at the latest speeds. Damn good thing. But, you know, I'm really leaning more towards the Asus Z690 creator motherboard. It's got a little bit better Wi-Fi, and that's another thing. You know, I wanted to get Wi-Fi on the motherboard. I'm not going to be running cables from my office to my Florida room. I mean, even though my wife's not here, it's just ridiculous to be running, you know, Cat cables, Cat 5, Cat 6, or Cat 7 or whatever from my router all the way into here. I wanted Wi-Fi. You know, you've got the new Wi-Fi 6 or the 6, but that's the thing. The Asus comes with a little bit better Wi-Fi. I'm not sure what my Linksys router, I mean, it's the Cat Daddy, but I'm not sure what it's broadcasting at, but I want that capability. And so if I'm going to be doing video editing, I wanted the Wi-Fi so that I can literally just set the computer right here and have it communicate with the router in the office. So I'm probably looking at the Asus motherboard. So now, what will I be doing? The first thing that I'll be doing, the motherboard. I always, and of course the processor, because the two go hand in hand. And then, of course, then I'll decide on the cooler for the processor. And so I'll be buying it piecemeal, one thing at a time. And it takes time, man. I'll go in, you know, if you look at Amazon, it might be $50 cheaper on Amazon versus Newegg. That's kind of the two places. There's other places to go that I used to use, but it's been a long time since I built a computer. So that's kind of where I am. Now, what I wanted to tell you, the other thing is if the shit hits the fan, which I think we're getting to that point. It's just like gold, silver, platinum, or palladium. These components, or this hardware, the TV, not only with inflation, these things are going to get priced right out, or they're not going to be available. I mean, the supply chain is broken, people. And, you know, good God, it looks like Europe's going to be going into a meltdown as far as their ability to even heat their houses. So this is to me, this is the last hurrah. I think within the next 2, and I'm hoping, I got my fingers crossed, within the next 2 or 3 months to buy hardware like this and be able to get it delivered to your door with Amazon or Walmart or whoever you want to go through. I think we're in the end game. Because this stuff is going to be they call it unattainium. Unattainium. You're not going to be able to buy stuff like this. So this is my last shot, I think, at being able to build a technological marvel for me to be able to work on and edit videos and work out of my house. Of course, the audio on these motherboards, the Wi-Fi, everything, and so it's my last shot. Now, how much am I going to spend on this system? Well, just let's just take an example, the video cards, because of all of the Bitcoin and what was it, Iridium, and all of the blockchain. You couldn't buy the video cards. The video card alone sometimes would cost you $2,000. Well, the prices have come down so much, and I didn't even get into the video cards, and we'll talk about that. I'm looking at, I'm probably going to go AMD. I don't think that the NVIDIA cards are going to come down in price to where I want for what, because I'm just doing creator. Now, the video card, the GPU on that is just as important as the CPU and the motherboard. So those are kind of the three things Well, and of course the M2 slots, and anyway, the buses. There's a lot to think about. But I'm telling you, this is it. Within the next I think, within the next 2 or 3 months, this is your last shot at upgrading your computer hardware. Especially if you do any sort of, if you're going to be doing conference calls or making videos like I'm going to be, or, getting a new TV or whatever. I think the window's closing, people, and that's just it. So I wanted to exploit the dog one last time. I got him for another week. Say hi to the Boo Dog. Boo Dog! And good to live in the free state of Florida, where we have the great Governor DeSantis. And I don't know if you follow anything he does, but I'm not going to get political on this video, but I love the guy. And I hope he don't run for president, because I want to keep him as governor of Florida. All right, peace out, stay free.